tower town. Yeah, Friday night football is king. Sweet tea goes good with anything. Peace and quiet makes such a beautiful sound. And nobody eats till you say amen. And everybody knows your mom and them. You can see who loves who from miles around. In a water tower town. Yeah, in a water tower town.
Hi, I am Eric Comas. I am from Polina, Iowa. I am a 2018 American Star finalist in agri-science. My SAE involves two different research projects. My first involves utilizing prairie cordgrass and switchgrass, two native prairie grasses, to increase their ethanol yield and the protein value of their byproducts. In my college research, I worked with the Kansas FFA Agri-Science Fair and tried to find ways to increase participation and awareness of the event. Upon graduation, I hope to be a high school ag teacher and FFA advisor, and hopefully where I can impact the next generation of agriculturalists.
Just a young gun with a quick fuse. I was uptight, wanna let loose. I was dreaming of bigger things and wanna leave my old life behind. Not a yes sir, not a follower. Fit the box, fit the mold, have a seat in the foyer. Take a number. I was lightning before the thunder.
Thunder, 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 thunder,
Thunder, feel the thunder. Lightning and the thunder. Thunder, feel the thunder. Lightning and the thunder. Thunder, thunder, thunder. Kids were laughing in my classes while I was scheming for the masses. Who do you think you are? Dreaming about being a big star. They say you're basic, they say you're easy. You're always riding in the backseat. Now I'm smiling from the stage while you were clapping in the nosebleeds.
thunder, 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 thunder,
Thunder, feel the thunder. Lightning and the thunder. Thunder, feel the thunder. Lightning and the thunder. Thunder. Thunder, feel the thunder. Lightning and the thunder. Thunder, thunder, feel the thunder. Lightning, thunder, thunder, feel the thunder. Lightning and the thunder. Thunder, thunder, feel the thunder. Lightning and the thunder. Thunder, thunder, feel the thunder. Lightning and the thunder.
I'm Adrienne Blakey. I'm from Oklahoma, and I proudly represent the Stillwater FFA chapter, and I'm a 2018 Star finalist in agri-science. My agri-science SAE consists of research about gluten in wheat varieties from 100 years ago in comparison with varieties that are coming out even today. I found passion because of FFA, I found confidence because of FFA, and I figured out how to live a life that was full of purpose. And I know that I would not be the person I am today if it wasn't because of the FFA.
It's the dream.
Hydrohume on corn seeds to see if it would increase the germination rate and growth and development of the plant. I first started off by testing it on the corn seeds and to see if it actually worked. And then after that, I expanded that experiment into putting the corn seeds with the Hydrohume into a field test plot to see how it would react in an overall farm setting. I'm very thankful that the FFA does exist because without it, a lot of people I feel like would not be who they are today, and that it's making such a huge impact on kids' lives, which is amazing.
I got myself together, and no, you ain't no friend of mine. There'll be no more tears for you now. You see, I'm moving on fast. Finally got the past to go leave this pain behind. You got deep, babe, but you don't see, and you don't care, and you don't bleed. You blow my mind like dynamite. You go boom, boom, boom. You got deep, babe, and now I know sweet, sweet words were all for sure. The fuse is set, but dynamite. It goes boom, 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 boom. There'll be no more retribution, no. So you better not waste your time. I don't miss your arms around me, you know. I put my hand in the fire and it burned me once. I don't need it for a second time. You got deep, babe, but you don't see, and you don't care, and you don't bleed. You blow my mind like dynamite. You go boom, boom, boom. You got deep, babe, and now I know sweet, sweet words were all for sure. The fuse is set, the dynamite. It goes boom, 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 boom. Boom, 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 boom. hey, but you don't see, and you don't care, and you don't bleed. You blow my mind like dynamite. You go boom, boom, boom. You got deep, hey, and now I know your sweet, sweet words were all for show. The fuse is set, the dynamite. It goes boom, boom, boom.
Hi, my name is Katie Vacula. I'm from the Bigfoot FFA chapter in Walworth, Wisconsin, and I'm a 2018 Star in Agri-Science finalist. My SAE focused on egg washing methods, biodiesel production, and then finally the most recent project I've worked on was with mice and testing a food drug that we were developing from a big agricultural product in Wisconsin and trying to see if we could make something to help combat and treat urinary tract infections. The tie to agriculture really was what kept me interested in them. Mainly just, I come from an ag background. It's kind of always been around me. It's always been that constant in my life. So I think it's really cool to be able to try to fix these problems and kind of educate people about what we can do to better use all of the things that we have available. FFA has really changed my life. It's allowed me to do things I never really imagined that I would be able to accomplish, and I couldn't have done it without all the help of my advisors, my chapter, and my parents. It's given me a lot of great opportunities, and I'm really excited to use those to give back in my future as an agricultural educator.
This is something new, the Casper Slide Part 2, featuring the Platinum Band, and this time we're gonna get funky. Funky. Everybody clap your hands. Clap, 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 clap your hands. Clap, 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 clap your hands. All right, now, we're gonna do the basic step. To the left. Take it back now, y'all. One hop this time. Right foot, let's stomp. Left foot, let's stomp. Cha-cha, real smooth. Turn it out. To the left. Take it back now, y'all. One hop this time. Right foot, let's stomp. Left foot, let's stomp. Cha-cha now, y'all. Now it's time to get funky. To the right now. To the left. Take it back now, y'all. One hop this time. One hop this time. Right foot, 2 stumps. Left foot, 2 stumps. Slide to the left. Slide to the right. Crisscross. Crisscross. Cha-cha, real smooth. Let's go to work. To the left. Take it back now, y'all. 2 hops this time. 2 hops this time. Right foot, 2 stumps. Left foot, 2 stumps. Hands on your knees. Hands on your knees. Get funky with it. Oh, yeah. Come on. Cha-cha now, y'all. Turn it out. To the left. Take it back now, y'all. 5 hops this time. Hop it out now. Right foot, let's stomp. Left foot, let's stomp. Right foot again. Left foot again. Right foot, let's stomp. Left foot, let's stomp. Freeze! Everybody clap your hands. Come on, y'all. Check it out, y'all. How low can you go? Can you go down low? All the way to the floor? How low can you go? Can you bring it to the top? Like you never stop? Can you bring it to the top? One hop. Right foot now. Left foot now, y'all. Cha-cha, real smooth. Turn it out. To the left. Take it back now, y'all. One hop this time. One hop this time. Reverse. Reverse. Slide to the left. Slide to the right. Reverse, reverse. Reverse, reverse. Cha-cha now, y'all. Cha-cha. Cha-cha again. Cha-cha now, y'all. Cha-cha again. Turn it out. To the left. Take it back now, y'all. Two hops, two hops. Two hops, two hops. Right foot, let's stomp. Left foot, let's stomp. Charlie Brown. Hop it out now. Slide to the right. Slide to the left. Take it back now, y'all. Cha-cha now, y'all. Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, yeah. Do that stuff. Do it. Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. I'm out of here, y'all. Peace, peace.
Tractor Supply's Grants for Growing program is an annual fundraiser and competitive grant process that serves communities nationwide. The program supports sustainable, agriculture-focused projects led by local FFA chapters. FFA chapter advisors are invited to apply for a grant by outlining how they plan to start or continue projects that are beneficial to their communities.
It's very difficult for agriculture education programs to find money for new projects. So this is a program that's affecting FFA members all over the country.
The types of projects funded include community gardens, pet grooming parlors, greenhouses, science labs, and more.
The idea for the TSC aeroponic garden came about solely through students. That sparked an interest, and they realized we could have this in our school. This is not something that's beyond our reach.
We live in a rural community, but not everyone is blessed to live on a farm or have experience in the ag industry, and this is just a small part for them to see where their food comes from and have a small part in preparing that food and helping take care of it.
Funds for project grants are raised in Tractor Supply stores through the sale of FFA paper emblems. The sale of these paper emblems is led by local fundraising efforts like bake sales, petting zoos, car washes, and other timely events.
I think the value in supporting the FFA is these are going to be the future leaders of ag business in our communities, and we take a lot of pride in that.
Since 2016, Grants for Growing has helped fund all kinds of projects across the country, raising millions of dollars and impacting hundreds of thousands of FFA students all along the way.
Tractor Supply as a community partner has been just a wonderful, wonderful asset. Their generosity in the grant that we received has just been great for my students. TSC, we can't say thank you enough.
FFA advisors everywhere are encouraged to apply by visiting ffa.org/grantsforgrowing and filling out an application. Help support this year's Grants for Growing by visiting your local Tractor Supply and go to tractorsupply.com/FFA to learn more.
Welcome to Bankers Life Fieldhouse, home of the Indiana Pacers and Indiana Fever. All guests are asked to take a moment to locate the emergency exit nearest you. In the event of an evacuation, here is our game plan. If you are seated on the floor area or in sections 1 through 20, walk up the aisles and out on the concourse. Proceed out the nearest and safest exit. Guests in suites 1 through 28 exit your suite and exit the building. Club level sections 101 through 120 proceed to the nearest aisle stairs and walk up one level to the concourse and exit the building through the nearest exit. Club suites exit to the concourse, proceed to the nearest and safest staircase, down 2 levels, and out through the emergency exit door. Balcony level sections 201 through 232 walk down the aisle and exit onto the concourse. Proceed down the nearest emergency exit. Please continue away from the building. Bankers Life Fieldhouse staff will be positioned along the way to direct you safely to the nearest exit and safely out the building. Thank you for being prepared in advance to evacuate Bankers Life Fieldhouse in a calm and orderly manner. Now relax and enjoy today's event.
Today's the day we make a change. One risk is all it takes. With courage, drive, and ambition, we can achieve something great. Just one moment, one encounter, just one step to empower. Just one risk, just one choice. This time we raise our voice. Just one chance, just one moment, change the course. It's time we show it. Just one step, just one choice can pave the way. Let's raise our voice. You'll never know how far you can get till you find the courage to take that step. Each and every opportunity helps shape our community. Just one moment, one encounter, just one step to empower. Just one risk, just one choice. This time we raise our voice. Just one chance, just one moment, change the course. It's time we show it. Just one step, just one choice can pave the way. Let's raise our voice. Just one chance, just one moment, change the course. It's time we show it. Just one step, just one choice can pave the way. Let's raise our voice. Whoa, 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 just one moment, one encounter, just one step to empower. Just one risk, just one choice. This time we raise our voice. Just one chance, just one moment, change the course. It's time we show it. Just one step, just one choice can pave the way. Let's raise our voice. Just one chance, just one moment, change the course. It's time we show it. Just one step, just one choice can pave the way. Let's raise our voice.
Countdown to showtime. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Make it, do it, makes us harder, better, faster, stronger. More than power, never, ever, after work is over. Harder, better, faster, stronger. Work it harder, make it better, do it faster. Make it, do it, makes us harder, better, faster, stronger. Harder, better, faster, stronger. Work it harder, make it better, do it faster, makes us stronger. More than ever, hour after hour, work is never over. Work it harder, make it better, do it faster, makes us stronger. More than ever, hour after hour, work is never over. Work it harder, make it better, do it faster, makes us stronger.
Division, collision, obstacle possible, innovation, inspiration, opportunity, uncertainty. Every single day, all confusing and pulling our minds where they may. We are fed mixed signals, beliefs, views, attitudes, all trying to drive us on what to do, what to think, what to feel, what to believe. What do we do? We. You are you and I and me. Make a change, but will they think I'm strange? I am just one. There's no way it can be done.
I will not go. I will not move. I'm tired and I've had a long day. When Rosa Parks said no, she had not envisioned the obstacles that would come her way. Tired of being treated unfairly and pushed around because of her skin, Rosa Parks broke the chains and set free the freedom that was within. The bus stop in Montgomery, Alabama is surrounded now by trees. Trees whose leaves have withered with the strife of a nation. Trees whose roots have stood unmoved, surrounded by decades of condemnation. I will not go. When Rosa Parks said no, she planted seeds of revolution, recognizing that with her protest, Revolution was the only resolution. Seeds of prosperity, seeds of sincerity. In a time where anyone would have given into the stress, Rosa Parks planted seeds for a life of equality marked by progress. I will not move. When pushed beyond her limit, her resolve she did not lose. Just one risk led Mrs. Parks to become an icon of the civil rights movement. Her risk of standing her ground with solid devotion set the ideals of an entire generation into forward motion. She knew the consequences, knew what might happen if she resisted the status quo and instead decided on action. Just one risk is our call now for purpose. In a time where hatred and division seem far too big a burden, just one risk calls us to action. In a time where caring for others is falsely called a distraction. Just one risk is our legacy. Our world can become better because of you and me. How will we let just one risk define our legacy? How will we let just one risk define our passion?
Division. It doesn't move forward, it doesn't add or subtract. Division is caused by how we believe we should act. Today, we struggle to become one. Because of division, those years of struggle and strife are undone. Some will shrug it off simply and say, oh, that's just the climate of politics. But in the end, it is building a divided house, using negativity as bricks. There is opportunity in front of us. An organization as vast as this, is it premier leadership or simply unfounded bliss? Don't get me wrong, we do a lot of good for the world around, but without coming together, then this inspiring task is as good as drowned. Step after step after step after step, do you step on your neighbor while proclaiming that this is what I rep. Listen, I'm not here today to tell you that you're right or that you're wrong, but to help you instead understand that in our FFA, every single person can and should belong. Just one step towards understanding our neighbor can combat the toughest conversations that this country faces. The world is looking to you as FFA members to be the next generation of leaders. Will you step up to be the voice of understanding and leadership to solve those issues facing our generation? Just one step towards understanding our neighbor. Just one step.
Just one action. One name that Augustine signed that line that stated, this 80 acres is finally mine. Sweat and wear and tears were the cost. With those three things, our land wouldn't be lost. One action. One name signed on that line, let 6 generations find passion in time. One field plowed and one field planted, despite what the country chanted, you'll lose money. Agriculture is dying, but not us. Not them. We will not go under from a lack of trying. Build those terraces, plant those seeds, calve out those cows, tear down those weeds, purchase the combine, chop the silage, haul the grain, whatever the mileage. My ancestors and family have taken action for decades, regardless of what kind of challenge or Mother Nature invades. But what about me? An acreage kid, a girl that grew up 20 miles from the farm and wanted so badly to be involved, at minimum just a tid. Then one calf, one heartbeat changed it all. My passion was sparked and I stood tall. One turned to 13 cows that were finally in our name, 13 cows that would not allow our passion for agriculture to wane. Where the farm will be in another 160 more years, the Lord only knows. But as for me, I am thankful for those who composed a future for me, for my passion to gain traction, because somebody over a century ago took just one action. Just one action will propel us forward, but get ready to fight, because we will not cut corners. What action will you take? That'll be done purposefully. Be bold, be brave. It doesn't have to be executed perfectly, but just one action from you, from me, will no doubt change our world. irreversibly.
In agriculture today, we're facing rising prices and sustainability concerns. Our forest land burns while the next generation leaves and never returns. We're facing more problems than ever before. And from what I can see, we're headed for more. But with drones, soil mapping, GPS, self-driving tractors, better seeds, and all the rest, we have a chance to do this thing better than it's ever been done. But that starts with the power of just one. Our choices make an impact. We can work for a better tomorrow, but that will never happen unless we act. Yes, the future is now, and it doesn't matter how. Just one choice can change it all, and that starts right now. We can choose to make a difference. We all have the opportunity. Just one choice is all it takes. We can change our community. Just one choice could be the start of something greater. Yes, all good things in this world have but one common denominator. Just one choice made it happen. Just one choice for John Deere to choose to make his plow steel, and that choice continues to help agriculture win. Just one choice for Eli Whitney to create the cotton gin. Just one choice for Norman Borlaug to choose to breed a better grain. And look, I'm not saying that you have to have a big, giant brain, but just know that if we ever have a chance of making this thing more than super, you have to know that just one choice can change the future.
At 15 years old, anyone could glance at her, and she was sold. Told left and right her ambitions were too bold. Cold to the touch was her ideal life because she had no confidence for warmth. Till one day, she packed her bags, flew across the country, and ended up here. But little did they know her bags had been packed for days, months, years. Self-doubt, frustration, and most definitely fear every day, carrying her baggage with her throughout the hallways, school, classrooms, and some days, she wished she could just unpack what she didn't want and just fall away. What was clean, what was bright, what was necessary, all there, but her want for something more than what the world had seen sat in the pitfall of her heart, waiting to be set free. Her self-consciousness running rampant left her driving ambitions strapped in. So Bree sat here in this chair, all convention, trapped in the baggage I'd packed long before I knew where I would have been. Then, just one voice appeared in my view again. Alicia Hodnick, a national FFA officer, took the stage, and I was taken aback. She too had her bags packed. But hers were packed for love for everyone in that arena. It was all I could see. Something that was no big deal for her was a huge deal for me. That day in this chair, in this arena, will forever go down in history. Just one voice, and I left it all there. Everything holding me back, most of my baggage, I was no longer scared. Just one voice had more positivity than the structural integrity of this chair could have bared. What's got you scared? What if we listen to just one voice, if we dared? Paired with our fear and insecurity, having fear, that's fair. But imagine if our just one voice be the one that changes theirs.
What do we do? Risk, step, action, choice, voice. Different genders, races, backgrounds, interests, talents, beliefs, views. No matter where you come from, where you are, or what you do, you get to choose. Opportunities, goals, dreams, don't lose. You had the power, the right, the responsibility. Don't believe you had the ability? Think again. You don't have to pretend. There is a lot of struggle, there is a lot of pain, but for all of us to gain, we must rise up and retake the reins. Have courage, be bold, and step up to what is better, noble, and just. As leaders, it's a must. It doesn't have to be big or earth-shattering. Our just ones are all worth gathering. Doesn't have to be on a stage, but all on the same page. We in FFA will not be swayed. Speak up, speak out, cast out all the doubt.
Just one risk.
Just one step.
Just one action.
Just one choice.
just one voice.
It's time to be bold. The work has begun.
It's time to believe in the power of just one. Every life moment, every milestone, every journey, all begin with just one.
One conversation.
One decision.
One risk.
One choice, no matter our age,
our background, our gender.
Every day, we all have the power to choose just one action that propels us forward.
It doesn't have to be large, and we don't need to have it all figured out.
Change can feel like a daunting task at times.
Yet each of us can, just one step at a time.
Our individual steps are different.
Yet what unites us
is the power to make that one choice.
One chance.
One risk.
One moment of courage.
Let the games begin.
And then, imagine the collective strength of our individual just ones as a united national FFA organization.
And the impact to our chapters, communities, agriculture, and the larger future. It truly is up to each one of us.
Just one.
Just one.
Just one.
Today, who's ready?
FFA members and guests, get on your feet, make some noise, and welcome your 2017-2018 National Officer Team. Your Central Region Vice President from Oklahoma, Piper Maris. Your Southern Region Vice President from Georgia, Ian Bennett. Your Western Region Vice President from Arizona, Bryce Clough. Your Eastern Region Vice President from Kentucky, Gracie Furnish. Your National FFA Secretary from Iowa, Erica Beyer. And your National FFA President from California, Brianna Holbert.
USA, you were born to reign, so come on. So come on!
The convention hall will now come to order. We are now holding the first general session of the 91st National FFA Convention and Expo. Madam Vice President, are all officers at their stations?
I shall call the roll of officers, determine if they are at their stations, and report back to you, Madam President. The Sentinel.
Station by the door.
Your duty's there.
Through this door pass many friends of the FFA. It is my duty to see that the door is open to our friends at all times and that they are welcome. I care for the meeting room and paraphernalia. I strive to keep the room comfortable and assist the president in maintaining order.
The reporter.
The reporter is stationed by the flag.
Why by the flag?
As the flag covers the United States of America, so I strive to inform the people, in order that every man, woman, and child may know that the FFA is a national organization that reaches from the state of Alaska to the Virgin Islands and from the state of Maine to Hawaii.
The treasurer.
Stationed at the emblem of Washington.
Your duties there?
I keep a record of receipts and disbursements, just as Washington kept his farm accounts, carefully and accurately. I encourage thrift among the members and strive to build up our financial standing through savings and investments. George Washington was better able to serve his country because he was financially independent.
The secretary.
Stationed by the ear of corn.
Your duties there?
I keep an accurate record of all meetings and correspond with other secretaries wherever corn is grown and FFA members meet.
The advisor.
Here by the owl.
Why stationed by the owl?
The owl is a time-honored emblem of knowledge and wisdom. Being older than the rest of you, I'm asked to advise you from time to time as the need arises. I hope that my advice will always be based on true knowledge and ripened with wisdom. Madam Vice President, why do you keep a plow at your station?
The plow is the symbol of labor and tillage of the soil. Without labor, neither knowledge nor wisdom can accomplish much. My duties require me to assist at all times in directing the work of our organization. I preside over meetings in the absence of our president, whose place is beneath the rising sun.
Why is the president so stationed?
The rising sun is the token of a new era in agriculture. If we will follow the leadership of our president, we shall be led out of the darkness of selfishness and into the glorious sunlight of brotherhood and cooperation. Madam President, all officers are at their stations.
Thank you, Madam Vice President. The Secretary will call the roll of members.
I am pleased to announce that at the first general session of the 91st National FFA Convention and Expo, there are 62,710 members, advisors, and guests present. Madam President.
Thank you. FFA members, why are we here? To practice brotherhood, honor agricultural opportunities and responsibilities, and develop those qualities of leadership which an FFA member should possess. May we accomplish our purposes. I now declare the first session of the 91st National FFA Convention and Expo duly open for the transaction of business or attention to any matters which may properly be presented. Now I want to take y'all back in a moment of time when I was a high school student. Now, every day at lunch, I sat in the very same spot outside in the outdoor amphitheater at Tokay High School and never failed to do the same things every day at lunch in that amphitheater. I sat with the same friends, ate the same meal, and sat in the same spot every day. It seemed like that day was always ordinary, but if I looked across the outdoor amphitheater, all the way in the back of the tables, there was a big table with a camouflage covering on it and big letters that said, "Go Army," in big, bold, yellow letters. Many of my classmates would do something extraordinary on ordinary days like that. They would grab a pen at that camouflage colored table, sign a dotted line, and commit themselves to the ultimate sacrifice, Regardless of the freedoms we enjoy or pastimes we're allotted, our troops ensure any and all are accounted for. They're premier leaders who believe in the future of our country. Like FFA members, they live to serve. Today, we are joined by our T.C. Howe High School Hornet Battalion Color Guard. Please help me and join them as we honor our country and individuals who have served it through the presentation of the colors. Members of the Guard are Cadet Sergeant Major Dre Harding, Cadet Lieutenant Colonel Sierra Emile, Cadet Second Lieutenant Daniel Gieslin, Cadet Second Lieutenant Kristen Ramsey, Cadet Private Destiny Wheeler. Please rise as they present the colors of the United States of America.
Say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched
This morning, it's my honor to introduce to you our Session 1 chair. From her home in California, she has one of the biggest hearts and the warmest laughs of anybody I've ever met. She is fiercely proud of all of her friends, her family, and her home. It's my honor to introduce to you our Session 1 chair and your National FFA President, Ms. Brianna Holbert.
Bring the beat in. FFA members and guests, welcome to the 91st Annual National FFA and Convention and Expo. All our just ones have come here for this moment in this arena as we begin to dive
my gosh,
deeper.
I'm so sorry I'm late. My hair was looking lopsided, and you know your Carol can't be walking out here looking bad.
Wait, Beeb? Non? What are you doing here? This is my job. No, this is my job. How is this your job? Dang it, we're talking at the same time again. We always do this. Okay, let's try by taking turns speaking. Yes, exactly. Thought the same wavelength. Yep. You stop, then I'll stop. Okay, that didn't work. Oh, let's try counting down. Yeah. Starting with 3. Wait, 3? Yeah, 3. 3, 2, 1. Wait, on 1 or after 1? Let's just stop now. Glad we cleared that up. Okay, Beeb, well, thanks for having my back, but I think I've got it from here. I mean, we have the same DNA, so if I'm not covering your back, then I'm doing myself dirty. You know what? You're right. Thanks, Beeb. You're welcome. Love you. See ya. If y'all couldn't tell already, I have a twin. A lot of people think we're exactly the same copy as one another. Even though completely identical, share basically the same wardrobe, obviously, and have an equally as weird obsession with pugs, Beeb and I couldn't be more different. I was more the high school athlete, while Beeb was the theater queen. I love chocolate, and Beeb is a die-hard sweet candy girl. Beeb is semi-allergic to the sun, while I dream of the California heat cooking me to a crisp. Yes, twins, they're known to be so similar, but Beeb and I couldn't be more different. There's only one Beeb and one Bree. Look around this arena. It's easy to think from outside looking in that we're all similar. We all have matching official dress. We all arrived in the same arena. And with a name like Future Farmers of America, it may seem like we all have similar interests in agriculture. But where you are at this moment, here at the 91st National FFA Convention and Expo, there is just one you. Here, there's so many exciting opportunities waiting for you. Whether we meet just one person who becomes a lifelong friend, take just one step in our National Days of Service to meet a need of someone else, or maybe we take that one opportunity in the Expo that completely changes our career path. Yeah, it might just be just one action, just one step, just one opportunity, just one individual, just one moment, just one you. But there's so much power behind that just one. Never forget that. Here at the first session of the 91st National FFA Convention and Expo, we will welcome up those folks who have been dedicated to our organization for years and years to come, and they will continue to welcome us to Indianapolis. We will also have a group of musicians that will make this arena come to life, as well as hear from our keynote speaker, Mr. Kyle Sheely, who will end this session off right. Now, I think my mama would agree. Twins are double everything, right, mama? Double the food, double the hair, double the clothes, and double the crazy. So let's bring double the energy and kick off this session right here at the first session of the 91st National FFA Convention and Expo.
Just one chance, just one moment, change the course. It's time we should raise our voice.
All right, so do y'all like games? Do you like games? You like games? Everyone like games? Okay. So I got this game. It's called Twin Trivia. Here's how it works. So I'm gonna ask you a question, and you gotta guess which one it is, Beeb or Bree. Got it? Cool, okay. Now, out of Beeb and I, just one is a gifted singer and guitar player. Just one. Which one do you think? Beeb or Bree? Which one? If you said Beeb, you nailed it. My sister is literally the 2018 version of Adele. While I can't harp out a tune to save my life. Well, good thing we've got a group of musicians here who pick up the slack for twins like me. Under the direction of Miss Christy Britton and Mr. Spencer White, and sponsored by Corteva Agriscience, please help me in welcoming for their very first performance of this session, our National FFA Band and Chorus. All right. I may not be the Adele of the pair, but that doesn't mean I can't contribute. I've learned enough dance moves this year to add some pizzazz to Beeb's gig. Oh, yeah. Yeah. And I know someone at this national convention who also adds some pizzazz to every single session. So please help me in welcoming our National FFA organist, Mr. John Schutte. Amazing. All right, it's time for some more twin trivia. You ready? Okay. Adabib and I, just one, has an awkwardly weird obsession with birds. Just one. Which one do you think? Beeb or Bree? If you said Bree, you nailed it. Throughout high school, I raised turkeys and chickens for my SAE project, and no one could convince me that birds weren't majestic creatures. Well, Beeb respectfully bowed out of chicken chores. The sponsor of this session understands that domesticated animals like mine need care and health, but also understand that FFA members are the future of this industry, and the research and innovations that we provide will continue to propel us forward into our future. If you're interested in animal research, please visit booth 265 for Merck Animal Health, and you might score some of these 6 socks. Yes, amazing. Work it. Work it. Wow. Wow. Once again, if you want to look like that, like Bryce, go ahead and check out Merck Animal Health at booth 265. Please help us in thanking our sponsors. Now, this next twin trivia question goes out to all my trick-or-treaters out there, okay? Now, Adabib and I, just one, dressed up as this witch for Halloween. Just one. Which one do you think? Beeb or Bree? If you said Beeb, you are correct. Beeb decided that she would bring something new to the table at Halloween. Now, this next speaker also wishes to bring something new to the table in the form of perspective. From time to time throughout the year, he's made visits to our state and challenged us to believe that we can do anything we set our mind to. And now he's here to welcome us to Indianapolis like the good old wise owl should. Please help us in welcoming to the stage our National FFA Advisor, Dr. Steve A. Brown.
Thanks. On behalf of the National FFA Board of Directors, I want to say welcome to the 91st National FFA Convention. If you haven't figured out by now, our convention theme is just one. I'm here to remind you there is just one FFA, just one FFA motto, just one FFA creed, just one national FFA organization, and just one national FFA convention. There was also, last night, just one Garth Brooks concert. Almost everything starts with just one thought, just one concept, just one great idea. One person, one kind word, one chance, and just one opportunity. You will have just one opportunity to make the most of this convention, whether it be meeting someone new, engaging with a session speaker, competing in a career development event, a leadership development event, a proficiency award, national chapter recognition, agri-science, or agri-science fair. You will have the opportunity to experience the Career Expo, explore the Blue Room 365, and most important of all, connect with the host of over 67,000 of your closest friends. In reality, we just have one life. How we spend our time to make this world a better place is up to us. How you spend the next 3 days of this convention is entirely up to you. Making positive change starts with just one, and you are that just one, that one special, one unique person. I hope that you will make the right choice at the right time for the right reason, because this is critical as we move agriculture, agricultural education, work-based experiential learning, and FFA forward. The late Whitney Houston left us a legacy with a song called One Moment in Time. One moment when you can be more than you thought you could be. The convention is your opportunity to be more than you thought you could be. And as the song continues, it says, when all of our dreams are a heartbeat away, and the answer is all up to you. Just one heartbeat. Seize that one moment in time. Today is your moment. Just one day to give your best. Live each moment to be your very, very, very best. I hope that you will continue to be a part of this outstanding school-based agriculture student organization. And remember, it's just one FFA.
Dr. Brown, thank you for your message to our membership. Thank you for the support that you have in agricultural education and strengthening the FFA. Your message was just one moment in our convention experiences. However, it will continue to propel us forward into not only this convention, but also our homes and communities. Thank you for encouraging us. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Yeah. Ladies and gentlemen, our National FFA Advisor, Dr. Steve A. Brown. Okay, so by now you figured that me and my sister are pretty different. And if you think back to any of your friends that are different than you might be thinking, okay, they definitely have difference in opinion. And I'd agree. Beeb and I definitely have a difference in opinion. But in this case, in this decision, we would not have a different opinion. We would both agree to more jams. So under the direction of Mr. Spencer White and sponsored by Corteva AgriScience, please help me in welcoming our National FFA Band.
Good morning, FFA. My name is Skylar Carnegie, and I'm from the Bruning Davenport FFA chapter in the Cornhusker state of Nebraska. From the radio airwaves of the 70s to the bright lights of the hit Broadway musical Mamma Mia, the music of ABBA continues to excite listeners everywhere. Your 2018 National FFA Band hopes you enjoy this foot-tapping medley of hits as they present ABBA on Broadway.
420 trivia. You ready? You ready? But before we do that, let's thank our National FFA band one last time. Let's go. So, for this twin trivia question, just one out of Beeb and I has a passion and patience for crafting. Just one. Which one do you think? Beeb or Bree? Drum roll. Drum roll, drum roll. Bree, since I can remember, yeah, good job if you got it right. Since I can remember, I've had crazy crafting weekends, sculpting, painting, building, pasting, painting, putting together random crazy works of art. While Beeb can rip her curly hair out just thinking about where to even start. Our next friend and keynote speaker also is a crazy crafter himself. He's sponsored by our friends at John Deere and continuously puts together different crafts throughout his time, not only as a speaker, but also as a crafter. He takes recycled cardboard and he makes masks and random objects, but also crafts different works and messages for thousands and thousands of students, challenging them to build a better world. When he's not on a stage or on a plane, he's in his home in Springfield, Missouri. Yeah. With his wife, Lindsay, and their 4 crazy kids. His free time includes reading, writing, and doing an assortment of tasks. These tasks range from the small to the ridiculously enormous, from the meaningful to the crazy ridiculous. But they all have one thing in common, just one. They're a step toward a sort of world that he wants to live in. So without further ado, please help us in welcoming to the stage our keynote speaker, Mr. Kyle Sheely.
Thank you. What's up, FFA? Oh my gosh. All right, I got to get something out of the way before we get started. This session is being live streamed and it's being played on TV right now, which means that there are people across the country and around the world who are watching this in their homes, in their ag classrooms, their businesses. People will watch this later on the internet, which means that my voice is being played across the world right now, which gives me a chance to say something that I've always wanted to say. Alexa, maximum volume. Alexa, play Who Let the Dogs Out. Do you know what just happened? Right now, there are people around the world scrambling to turn off the most obnoxious song that has ever been written by humans. That song starts out with a grown man yelling out, "Who let the dogs out?" And it only gets worse from there. How about that concert last night, huh? Oh my gosh, when they invited me to do this, they said, "Kyle, we'd like you to come speak at our opening session." I said, "Oh my gosh, I would love to do that. That's an honor." And they said, "It's such a big session, you have to do it more than once." And I said, "That's not a problem at all." They said, "Okay, so you'll speak 2 times on Wednesday." And I was like, "That's perfect, no problem." Then they said, "That night, Garth Brooks is gonna play." And I was like, "Hold up, am I opening for Garth Brooks?" But then they said, well, then the next morning, so Garth Brooks will play, and then on Thursday morning, you'll speak again. And then I was like, hold up, is Garth Brooks opening for me? So here's the story I've decided that I'm gonna tell my kids someday, is that once I got to open up for Garth Brooks, and I did such a good job that the next time, Garth Brooks opened up for me. I want to tell you guys a story. My name's Kyle, by the way. I'm excited to be here. I know I look like Jesus, okay? But I want to tell you a story. When I was your age, when I was in high school, we did this event at my school that was designed to drive attention to the issue of drunk driving. But they didn't want to just talk about drunk driving or give us statistics or facts. They wanted us to feel it. Like, what would that be like if one of your friends got injured or killed by a drunk driver? And so they actually staged a funeral for one of our students, a mock funeral as though one of our students had died. Now, we knew that this girl was not actually dead, but they wanted us to feel like, what would it be like if one of your friends actually did die? And so they brought in her family and her friends, and they talked about her. Her pastor came and gave a eulogy. They had a picture screen slideshow on the screen with pictures and video from her life. There was probably a Sarah McLachlan song playing, like, I will remember you, something like that. And it was like a real funeral. And even though we knew this girl was alive, like, people were crying. It was crazy emotional. The only weird thing about the funeral was that there was a real coffin sitting on the stage, and she was really inside of it. So for like 45 minutes, she just had to lay there like, please don't let a fly land on my nose. And it was my job. I was in student council back then, and so I had different jobs to help orchestrate this day. And at one point, I went to my student council advisor, Mr. Kinslow. I said, Kinslow, what's next? And he said, what time is it? Perfect. Kyle, it's time to get the coffin. You need to go down and carry the coffin in. It's being delivered at the back of the auditorium. It's going to be heavy, and it's going to be big, so you need to grab another person. So I grabbed my friend Andrew. He's like a buff football player dude. We head down to the auditorium. We get to the loading dock at the back of the auditorium, and the hearse had already backed up there. And the guy, the coffin delivery man, or whatever his job title actually was, he had backed up the coffin off of the thing. He had unloaded it onto this special like cart that made it very easy to maneuver. Now again, I thought that we were going to have to carry it in, but when it was on this cart, I was like, oh, I can move the cart around. Like, Andrew, I'm sorry, dude. I made you come all the way down here. I thought we were going to have to carry it. But how about this? We can save this so that it wasn't a waste of your time to come down here. I still have to get the coffin all the way from the back of the stage to the front of the stage. That's going to require me to move some curtains and some stuff around, and it'll take a second. I can still do all of that by myself, but it'll take a minute. So why don't you leave now while I'm doing that, and then go get Mr. Kinslow, tell him the coffin is here. By the time the two of you guys get back, I'll have the coffin where it needs to be. And he was like, that's a great idea, Kyle. I'll do that. You do that. Team on three. 1, 2, 3, team. Okay, we didn't really do the 1, 2, 3 team thing. You need at least 3 people for that to not be awkward. So he leaves, and I grab the coffin and I roll it from the back of the stage all the way up to the front of the stage. And eventually I get it all the way up to the front of the stage. And now I'm standing here in this empty auditorium, pitch black, hundreds of empty seats, just one light shining down on the stage that's shining down onto me and the coffin. Do you ever have one of those ideas? And like right away, you know 2 things about the idea. First, you're like, this is definitely a bad idea, and you should not do this. But second, you're like, but I'm definitely gonna do it. So I open the coffin, I climb into the coffin, and I shut myself inside the coffin. I was so excited, you guys. I was so proud of myself. Do you ever just get really stoked on your own idea? You're like, this is gonna be awesome. I was like, they're gonna come back and be like, where's Kyle? And I'll be like, ha ha, and jump out of the coffin. And then if one of them dies of fright, it's fine. We have a coffin right there, right? Backup plan. And so I was really excited about it. I did, though, really underestimate how long it would take Andrew to get to the other end of the school and back. It took him a really long time, and the whole time I'm like laying in this coffin just like thinking about my life. But eventually I hear footsteps and voices, but it was too many footsteps and too many voices. See, I thought that Andrew would go get Mr. Kinslow, the 2 of them would come back, and it would just be this funny little thing between some friends, you know, the 3 of us. But I forgot that the reason Kinslow wasn't getting the coffin himself is that Mr. Kinslow was teaching a class during that hour. And so when Andrew got down there and said, Kinslow, coffin's here, he was like, perfect, guys, that's what we've been waiting for. Everyone grab your stuff, we're heading down to the auditorium. They all walk down to the auditorium, they all walk onto the stage, and they are now standing directly adjacent to the coffin that I am hiding in. And so now instead of Andrew and Mr. Kinslow, now it's Andrew, Mr. Kinslow, and 30 assorted students that I don't really know who they are. I would say that was stage 1 of where this plan started to go off the rails. Stage 2 is this. I thought that Mr. Kinslow would flip open the lid and be like, whoa, and then that would be it. Like he would see my face, but it would take him a second. So at first he would just, and then it would realize that it was me, and that would be it. That's called a jump scare. It's like when your sister's about to go to bed and you hide in the dark right behind her door and she walks in and you're like, hey, oh my gosh. Oh, and it's just you, right? That's the perfect amount of time to scare somebody, and I thought that was exactly what was gonna happen. And to be fair, that is what would have happened if he had flipped open the part of the lid that covered my face. However, this coffin had 2 lids. It had one lid that covered the top half of your body. It had one lid that covered the bottom half of your body. He had a 50-50 chance, and he blew it. He flipped open the wrong lid. And so instead of seeing my face, which he would have been very familiar with, instead, he saw my feet, which, to be honest, he was not that familiar with. He didn't know what my feet looked like. He wasn't familiar with my shoe collection or anything. So he did not think, oh, those are Kyle's feet. He thought, they sent us the wrong coffin. And in the back of his mind, he's like, there's a funeral happening somewhere right now, and they're just putting an empty box in the ground. This is not good. And I'm in the coffin, and I went, oh no. Because I see all this light coming in. And then he said something that sounded very much like, oh no, except for it was no, no. But then he just kept saying that over and over again. No, 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 no. And he's just backing up into this crowd of people. And I guess they had not really been paying attention when he first flipped open the lid because they hadn't seen it. But I heard the moment that all of them realized that I was in the coffin. There was a body in the coffin. Because as he backed up into them, they were like, what's going on? They all looked into the coffin. And from inside the coffin, I heard 30 people in unison just go, they just sucked the air right out of the room. And I was like, I believe this is my moment. And I pushed open the lid and I was like, boo. To this day, I have never seen a teacher's face go from so white to so red in such a short period of time. He went from being scared to death to being driven by death. He was like, would you like to be in a coffin, Kyle? Because I can put you in a coffin. We can arrange for that. Now, I tell that story for two reasons. One, because it's hilarious, and the world needs more hilarious stories. And two, because it illustrates a very good point, which is that oftentimes in life we're afraid of things for no reason. We're afraid of things that can't actually hurt us. We're afraid of things because other people handed us that fear. They made us afraid of those things, and we took that fear, and we never stopped to evaluate if it's a good fear or a bad fear. We never stopped to evaluate, is this something that is helping my life or not? Sometimes people say, I'm going to conquer all my fears. And I go, don't do that. Only conquer the bad fears. You should have some fears in your life, like the fear of bears. If you're like, I'm going to conquer my fear of bears. Here's how that story ends. You get eaten by a bear, all right? You should have healthy fears in your life. They create a hedge of protection that keeps bad things, bad experiences, bad people away from you. But unhealthy fears, they do the opposite. They build a fence that boxes you in. And it keeps you from living the life that you could live, from making the difference you could make, from impacting the people that you could impact. I don't know if you've ever done anything like that, if you've ever let your life be dictated by fear, but I know that I have. This is my full-time job, you guys. For the last 8 years, I've traveled all over the country. I've spoken to like 250,000 people in 47 states. I'm about to cross off my 48th state. If you're in Hawaii or Mississippi, let's talk. Let's cross those two off the list, right? But I love my job. This is what I get to do. But I would have to admit that for the first 4 or 5 years, some of what my message was shaped by fear. See, if you were to see somebody and meet somebody who had seen me during that time and say, oh, you saw Kyle speak? What's he like? That person would say, Kyle? Oh man, that dude is funny. Because I am funny. I've always been funny. I was always that guy who was getting into trouble in class because I was making my friends laugh in the back of the room. And then I would get out of trouble because I could make the teacher or the principal laugh. That was my superpower. One time I almost killed my dad with a joke. It's a true story. We're sitting at dinner and I said something funny and my dad started to laugh. I don't even remember what I said, but he started to laugh. And then at some point that was not immediately clear, that laughing transitioned into choking because my dad had food in his mouth. And then at a point that was very clear immediately, the choking transitioned into my dad blacking out. So I was like, and I was like, I just murdered my dad with humor. I'm a humor-murderer. Don't worry, he's alive. I went over and gave him the Heimlich. I just texted him this morning. He's doing fine. But there was a part of me that was like, hey, if you're going to go, that's not a bad way to go. Laughing your way out. But humor has always been my superpower. But unfortunately, students, it's been my experience in life that superpowers often come as a package deal with a super weakness. Superman had his kryptonite, and for me, my kryptonite was this. I knew what it was like to be funny, and so I never wanted to not be funny. I never wanted to share any parts of my life that weren't funny. I didn't want to share parts of my life that were scary or sad or painful. I didn't want to be vulnerable. I didn't want to be real. I wanted to be funny because I know what that's like. That's a safe place for me. And so I was scared of any of that real stuff, but I'm not scared of that anymore. Guys, I grew up going to a really tiny school. Is anybody here from a small town? A couple of you guys. I grew up in a small town, but I went to an even smaller school because I didn't go to the public school until high school. So kindergarten through 8th grade, I went to this private school 30 minutes away, and it was very small. I mean, the school was like, it was like this big. And it was hard to fit in. That's my favorite joke in the whole talk, you guys. It was not this big, all right? It was a regular-sized building. The doors and windows were all up to code and everything. But it was a small school. There were like 20 kids in my class. 8th grade class, 20 kids, and it was the same 20 kids I started out with in kindergarten pretty much. Sometimes a new kid would come in or a kid would leave, but it was basically this group of 20 kids, and I just didn't feel like I fit in. I fit into the building okay, but not in with the students. I remember I would try to like make friends and have these deep connections and friendships and stuff, and it just didn't work. It just didn't happen. I would have guys come spend the night at my house, and it seemed like they were having a lot of fun. My parents lived in the woods, and these were all like city kids, and so we'd go running through the forest and building forts out of sticks and trying to learn the secret language of squirrels and stuff. And they would have a lot of fun, but then they would never have me back over to their house. And so then I would have them back over to my house, and they would never have me back over to their house. And I started to think, this is kind of weird. Like, what's going on here? So in 3rd grade, I cornered this kid in the playground. I was like, Willie, we need to talk. I was like, what's going on, dude? It was like 2nd or 3rd grade, and I'm like, I've had you over a lot of times. And according to my records, you've had me over approximately 0 times. And that sounds weird. Why is that? And he said, well, dude, I want to have you over, but I can't. I can't have you over. And I was like, oh, you can't have people over. You should have told me that. This whole time I thought it was me. And he was like, oh, no, it is you. He's like, I can have people over. I just can't have you specifically over. And I was like, why can't you have me specifically over? And he was like, my mom says that you're dangerous. And you laugh, and I can laugh now, but I wasn't dangerous. I'm a 2nd grader. How dangerous can you be, And so I'm like, I'm not dangerous. But and that hurt when he said that. But you're not supposed to really show people when you're hurt in life because like they can use that against you, right? So you have to act like you're tough even if you're really hurting inside. So he was like, my mom says you're dangerous. And even though it hurt, I was like, she's right, dude. I am dangerous. I would probably burn your house to the ground, Willie, right? But that's not how I felt. Inside, I was like, dude, I'm not dangerous. I'm just a kid who wants a friend. I just want to be loved like anybody else. And also, that's not what adults are supposed to be doing. Even as a kid, I was like, I thought adults were here to guide us and help us. And like, adults are people who are a little bit further down the road of life and they can share lessons that they've learned. Like adults are supposed to say things like, hey guys, here's a pro tip. I know that vanilla extract smells like it's gonna taste really good, but just trust me, it tastes like hot garbage. How many of you guys tried it anyways? Yeah, we are slow learners, huh? That's what adults are for, but here's an adult not doing that, not helping guide me, not helping me to avoid vanilla extract. Instead, she's saying you're dangerous, you're bad, you don't belong, you're not welcome, and I just began to feel like I didn't fit in there at that school. It wasn't a very big step from the idea that I don't fit in here to the idea that maybe I actually don't fit in anywhere. Because I looked around, I noticed that even in this small group of 20 kids, everyone else had their connections, but I didn't. There were more popular kids and less popular kids, but even the less popular kids had one or two friends that was like their ride or die. That was their best friend, and they were great, and I just had these surface level connections with everyone. I could never go deep. I could never make any real true friendships. And I started to think, well, maybe it's not the size of the group. Maybe it's me. Maybe I'm just like broken. Maybe I'm wired wrong and I'm never gonna be able to connect with anybody. Maybe like I could search the whole world over and I'm never really gonna find a real friend. And it wasn't a very big step from that idea to this other idea that like, maybe the world would be better if I wasn't here anymore. I remember being in like second grade and thinking about how would a second grader kill himself? How would a third grader take his own life? And then fourth grade came. And in fourth grade, Zach showed up. This new kid, his name was Zach. His name is still Zach, actually. He never changed it. And Zach and I, right away, I was like, that's the guy I've been waiting for. That's the best friend I've been looking for. I could tell like day one because Zach was like me. Zach was witty, Zach was sarcastic, and most importantly, Zach did not have a filter between his brain and his mouth. So whatever came into here was probably gonna come right out of here. And that was good news for me because before Zach got there, it was like, Kyle, out in the hall. But now it was like, Zach, Kyle, out in the hall. And I was like, we did it, we escaped. We can do whatever we want out here. They're all still learning in there, those suckers. Zach and I hit it off right away. Within a few weeks of school starting, Zach was like, hey dude, you wanna come over to my house sometime? And inside I was like, do not blow this opportunity, Kyle. Don't show him that you've never wanted anything more in your life than to go spend the night at someone's house. Play it cool. So I was like, sure dude, I'll go to your house. Then I was like, what are you thinking? Because my house was a disaster all the time. Like my room specifically was a disaster. And so whenever I wanted to have somebody over, I'd be like, Mom, can we have Zach over? And she'd be like, yeah, like June or July is probably fine. And I was like, it's currently January, Mom. And she'd be like, yeah, your room needs to be clean. I was like, oh, right. July might be optimistic, actually. So when Zach said, do you want to come over? I was like, yeah, what are you thinking? When do you want to do this? Like January, February? And he was like, Kyle, it's August. And I was like, you are absolutely right. We can do March. That's fine. April, whatever. I don't want to push it back. I don't want to put pressure on you, man. He was like, no, I was thinking August. I was actually thinking like today. Do you want to come over to my house today? And I was like, hold up. You can do that? You can have someone over to your house the same day that you have the idea to have them over to your house? That was new information, and I did not know how to handle it. And he was like, well, I got to ask my mom, and I'm sure it'll be fine. So after school, he runs up to his mom's car. He's like, Mom, can we have Kyle over? And she's like, well, I got to call Kyle's mom to, double check. You guys know how this goes. His people call my people, lawyers, contracts, agents, documents, fax machines, deposits, it's a whole thing. But eventually they get the terms of the agreement negotiated, they get it notarized and filed away with the county records, and I get to go to Zach's house. I'm in fourth grade, never been invited to anyone's house. So on the way over there, I'm like, dude, Kyle, be on your best behavior, man. Also, lower your expectations because, dude, they're not going to let you into the actual house on the first night. For safety, they're going to keep you in the garage, okay? And that's okay. I'm okay with that. You got to earn your way in, all right? They're going to give you a towel to sleep on, bowl of water, piece of dry bread, and just be thankful. Maybe if you behave yourself and you're grateful, maybe in the morning they'll give you some cereal. Not cereal with milk. This is not the Hilton, okay? They're just going to dump cereal onto a paper plate. Here, Kyle, right? I was lowering my expectations, but I didn't need to because I got to his house and Zach's mom was like, come on inside. And I was like, hold up, garage inside or inside? And she was like, inside. And I go inside and then his mom was like, Kyle, are you hungry? And I was like, yeah, I could eat. And she's like, would you like a sandwich? And I was like, yeah, sandwich sounds great. And then she said this, FFA, I have never forgotten this. This is one of the most powerful things anyone's ever said to me. She said, Kyle, have you ever had peanut butter and honey before? And I was like, tell me more. And then she put peanut butter onto this piece of bread, and she put honey onto this other piece of bread. And when they came together, a light shone out of heaven. And there were, angels were singing. And I took one bite of this sandwich, and it was like, I know what love is. It was the most beautiful thing I'd ever eaten. I can never repay her the kindness of introducing me to peanut butter and honey. Zach's mom got me a sandwich and a glass of milk, and then Zach's family just took me in. They said, hey, Kyle, here's the fridge, here's the pantry. If you want more food, more drinks, whatever. Here's the TV. They had cable. I didn't have cable. I had 4 channels, ABC, CBS, NBC, PBS. If it wasn't on those channels, I don't know, buddy, go read a book or something. That's it. Those are your options. They had like 4,000 channels. Like by the time you got through scrolling through all the options, it was 2 days later than when you had started. Like it just took, and so they hand me the remote and they're like, here, Kyle, pick a show. And I was like, I don't know that I'm ready for this power. It's like Excalibur, am I worthy to hold this remote? And then they turned on the TV guide channel, just all the options are scrolling by. And they're like, Kyle, you can click on any of those options. And I was like, honestly, I'm fine just watching this. Like this is beautiful. They gave me the remote, they gave me the sandwich and the milk. They said, here's the fridge, here's the pantry, here's the TV, here's the thermostat. Make it hotter or colder, set it to your comfort level, Kyle. Here's our answering machine. Change our outgoing voicemail message if you would like. See, Zach's family never treated me like I was like some dangerous kid. Zach's family didn't even treat me like I was just one of Zach's friends. Zach's family treated me like I was part of Zach's family. And so for the next 5 years, until we split ways because we went to different high schools, we stayed friends after that. But for 5 years, 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th grade, Zach and I were like best friends. And we were all together all the time. And I was like a part of Zach's family. If I wasn't at my house, I was at Zach's house. I already had a great family. My mom and dad are awesome. And they love me so much. But in the back of my mind, I was like, maybe they have to love me. They're stuck with me, you know? Maybe they're like, well, we'll just make the most of a bad situation here. But Zach's family took me in and I became a part of their family to the point where one time Zach's mom was like, hey, Kyle, I know you're probably making your plans for spring break. We're going to be gone. We're going to be going on like a family vacation. So I just want to let you know so you can plan around that. And I was like, hold up a second. I think some of the words that you're using don't mean what you think that they mean. And she was like, what do you mean? I was like, well, you said that we are going on a family vacation, but we, that word is used to describe yourself and the person that you are talking to and whoever else is in that room. So like if you said we are going on a family vacation, that would mean that I am also going on this vacation because I am a part of this conversation. But you seem to be implying that I'm not going on this vacation, which seems weird because that's not what we means, Marcia. And also you said it's a family vacation, but that's weird because I'm definitely a part of your family, so I feel like I should be there. She was like, you raise a good point. So I went to Florida with Zach's family twice. Now here's the thing, all those thoughts that I had in 2nd and 3rd grade about I don't belong here, about ending my life, about all that stuff, it was just gone overnight. But here's the crazier thing is that nothing else in my life had changed. I remember thinking there's gonna have to be some huge change in my life in order for this to happen, in order for my life to get better, and that's never gonna happen. But Zach showed me I was wrong. See, Zach showed me it only actually takes one person to make you feel like you matter, to make you feel like you belong. Unfortunately, as I've gone through life, I've also realized it only takes one person to make you feel like you don't matter, to make you feel like you don't belong. It only takes one person to lift someone up, but it also only takes one person to tear someone down. It only takes one person to make someone's day. It also only takes one person to ruin someone's day. If you want to know what matters, focus on those things. Because so often in culture and in society, we don't focus on things that one person can do. We focus on these huge events, these big things, things like the Super Bowl or the World Series, or even on a local level, things like who's going to be homecoming king or what's the theme of prom going to be. These things that are a really big deal for 10 seconds, and then they're just gone. If you want to know what really matters, do this experiment for me. Go to a nursing home, track down an old person. I'm talking 85, 90 years old. They're easy to find. They don't move very fast, okay? Ask that person 3 questions for me. Question number 1, say, who's the first person that ever believed in you? How did you know that? They will reach back 8 decades in their mind and draw that memory back like it happened this morning. And they'll say, yeah, it was this 3rd grade teacher. It was my kindergarten teacher. It was my t-ball coach when I was a little kid. Or it was my freshman drama instructor. It was my FFA advisor. And they looked at me. Yeah, let's give it up for our FFA advisors. And that person 80 years later will remember that. And they'll say, this is what they said to me. They looked at me and they said this word of kindness. And all those years later, it stuck with them. And then ask them question number 2. Say, who's the first person ever made you feel like you didn't matter? And they will draw that one back just as quick. They'll say, yeah, there was this older kid at school, or there was this bully on the playground, or this mean kid up the block, or sometimes it was somebody they thought was a friend, Or sometimes it was a parent or a teacher or a sibling. Sometimes the people that we're supposed to trust have the biggest ability to just rip the rug out from under us. But they'll look at you and they'll say, yeah, that person, they looked at me and they said this. They made fun of the way that I looked or the way that I talked, the color of my skin or the color of my hair, the way that my teeth looked, or how tall or short I was, or rich or poor, or fat or skinny, or whatever it was. And all those years later, they will remember the exact words that person said. And you might think, well, they should let go of that. They're bitter. They need to no, I don't think that's true. I think they probably let go of it a long time ago. I just think that no matter how many times you put that away, if I ask you about it, you're going to be able to pull it back, because I just, in my experience, when one human being makes a mark on another human being for good or for bad, you just can't scrub that off. It's going to be there forever. So ask them question number 1, ask them question number 2, and then ask them question number 3. Say, what was the theme of your prom junior year? And they'll be like, sorry, what? That was like 1,000 years ago. I don't even know where I went to high school, dude. Or say, who won the Super Bowl in 1984? Just pick a random year. And they won't know. These things that everyone knew at the time, you were an idiot if you didn't know that. People would be like, what, are you living under a rock? You don't know who won the Super Bowl? You don't know who the prom king is? You don't know what the theme of homecoming is? Whatever it is. But now nobody cares. Nobody remembers those things at all. But those little things, those are what stick with us. Those are the things that last. And each and every one of us in this room has the power every day to do that. As we walk through the hallways of our schools and our FFA chapters, our neighborhoods, our jobs, our communities, we have the power to give somebody something that could lift them up or tear them down. How many of you guys in this room have ever had somebody make your day by saying one nice thing to you? Hands in the air. All of us, right? How many of you guys have ever had somebody ruin your day by saying one mean thing to you? All of us, right? And when somebody hands you a kindness, a word of kindness, it's like they gave you something that will lift you up. It's like, and it doesn't even have to be that big of a deal. You're just walking down the hallway, someone's like, hey man, that's a nice shirt. And you're like, it is a nice shirt. It has stripes that go this way and stripes that go this way. Nobody ever notices, but you noticed. And the rest of the day, it's like they tied balloons to your bag. Your feet don't touch the ground. You're just floating on the power of that compliment. No bad news can get to you. It's like you have a Mario star. Your principal comes up, hey, your car's on fire in the parking lot. You're like, it's all right, man. I don't need it anymore. I have this shirt now. This shirt will be my car, right? And the same way, when somebody insults you, when somebody ruins your day, it's like they put a cinder block in your backpack, and the rest of the day, you're just carrying around this weight. Sometimes you carry that for a day, for a week, for a month. Some of you guys are still carrying stuff people handed you in 3rd grade, and I'm not just talking to the students in here. There are advisors, teachers, parents, chaperones who are still carrying around emotional burdens that people handed you 50 years ago. And sometimes the burdens are ones that we made ourselves. Sometimes we realize in a room like this, we go, man, I came in here and I'm realizing as I hear this talk that I'm actually a kind of person who tears people down. And I don't want to do that. I want to be a person who lifts somebody up. I'm a kind of person who kind of ruins people's day. I don't want to be that anymore. The good thing is that even, just like it only takes one person to lift someone up or tear someone down, it also only takes one decision to change the way that your life is going. There's this guy named Alan Watts, and he has a quote that you're under no obligation to be the person that you were 5 minutes ago. At any point in your life, you can say, hey, I used to be that way, but now I'm going to be this way. Here's how I figured this out. A couple years ago, I turned 30 years old, and instead of having a birthday party like a regular human being, I was like, I'm going to have a funeral. And my mom was like, what? You're not dying, Kyle. And I was like, no, but my youth is dying. I'm 30 now. My 20s are dead. I'm going to have a funeral for my 20s. And she was like, is this like your idea of a weird birthday party theme? Because that's creepy. Like, put like a coffin on the ground and people put their presents and cards in the coffin. I was like, no, Mom. I'm not doing like a regular funeral for my birthday, for my 20s. I'm doing a Viking funeral for my 20s. So I built this. I built this Viking ship out of cardboard. That thing is, here's how big it was. That's my friend Kyle. That's not me. His name is also Kyle. And I built this ship. It was 8 feet tall. It was 16 feet long. It was ornately detailed. And then I shot Roman candles at it and set it on fire with a bunch of my friends. And some of my friends made a video about this where they interviewed me about the project. And in that video, I said, this thing that started out as this silly little idea, it actually became kind of meaningful because as I was building this, I started to think about, well, what do I want to leave behind in my 20s? What do I want to let go of? What are the things that I don't want to take into my 30s? And I unfortunately, I had some answers for that. Thought, you know what, maybe I was too judgmental in my 20s. Maybe I was too unkind. Maybe I was too quick to judge and not quick enough to extend an olive branch or to give the benefit of the doubt. Maybe I was impetuous. Maybe I was rash. Maybe I was undisciplined. Maybe all of these things, but I don't have to be those things anymore. I'm going to put those things into this ship and I'm gonna let it burn. And for whatever reason, that message resonated with a lot of people, and I started getting messages from people all over the world saying, man, I wish I could do something like that. I wish I could let go of this thing that I have. And I can, I guess, but it would be cooler if I could do it in a cool way, like on a Viking ship. So I was like, all right, well, I can help with that. So I started asking people to write down something they wanted to let go of. It could be a habit, a belief about themselves or about the world. It could be something that happened to them or something that they did they've never been able to forgive themselves for. Just something that they wanted to say, you know what, that used to be me, but that's not me anymore. And I said, we're not gonna have a Viking funeral for me or for my 20s. We're gonna have a Viking funeral for all of the people that we used to be. So send that stuff to me and I'll build it into a Viking ship and set it on fire. And I started getting thousands and thousands and thousands of things sent to me. Sometimes people would write one word, like fear, or hate, or abuse. Sometimes they would write things, notes about like whole stories, where I would just pull these things out of the mail and I would just like lose it. I would just like be bawling my eyes out in the parking lot of the post office. Stories about abuse, stories about neglect, stories about people who had hurt them or things that they had done. And I realized, like, man, with all these thousands of responses, like, a ship this size is not going to do it. I'm going to need something a lot bigger. So I built this. This isn't even close to being done, but that thing is 16 feet tall, and it's about 40 or 50 feet long. And eventually, once it's all beautiful and has scales, and I've spent hours and hours of my life doing it, I'm going to set it on fire with all the stuff inside that people have sent me. But I want to give you guys a chance to send me something, too. And so if you guys could pull out your phones really quick and go to this URL, www.vikingfuneral.me. If you're watching this on TV, or if you're watching this on the live stream, or you're watching this in your classroom later, you could do it too. There's a form there where you can type in anything that you want to let go of, anything that you want to put behind you. And you might say, well, this is on a computer. The computer's not going on the ship. Well, no, I'm going to print out all of those. All the thousands and thousands of responses I've gotten since I've been here at FFA, I'm going to be printing all of those out, making a physical representation of that thing that you want to let go of, and then I'm going to put it on that ship and I'm going to burn it, so that we might let go of the people that we used to be and reach forward to who we might become. I'm almost out of time, so I'm gonna tell one more story and then we'll be out of here. Before I do that, they're gonna put my social media stuff back up here. I don't care if you guys follow me or not, but I will say this. I'm leaving after this. I'm gonna go visit the convention and walk around for a couple hours, and then I have to go because I have another event to be at tomorrow. And so some of you guys are like, man, I would love to talk to you, or I'd love to connect, or love to invite you to speak at my school or whatever. This is the best way to do that. Reach out to me. I get more messages on Instagram. I was sitting in the Garth Brooks concert last night just like responding to messages from people that had come in. I respond to every message that I ever get that isn't creepy or weird. There's probably gonna be a lot of them in the next couple days, not the creepy or weird ones, just a lot of messages because there's a lot of you, so give me a little bit of grace. It might take me time, but I will always be there to help if I can. So please reach out if there's ever anything I can do. I'll close with this story. When I was in middle school, I got this idea. I used to love camping under the stars, but you can only do that during the summer. And so I thought, well, how could I do that year round? And then I was walking through the mall and I saw these little glow-in-the-dark stars. And I was like, oh, I could put those on the ceiling of my room and it would look like I was outside all the time. And so I did. I put them all on the ceiling of my room, the top half of the walls. I did constellations, I did the moon, I did the whole thing because I really wanted to feel like I was outside. Unfortunately, that plan backfired on me in a very big way. The very first night when I woke up in the middle of the night and I thought I was outside. Do you ever have that happen where you just like wake up and you just accept whatever the dream told you a second ago? You're just like, I have octopus legs now. This is my life. I'm just gonna have to deal with it. I was like, somebody took my bed and they put it in the forest. And you guys laugh, but I was not laughing. I was so scared. Oh my gosh, because I was convinced. For one thing, my window was open and there was a breeze coming in, and my parents live in the woods, so there were like crickets and stuff outside, and there's stars. I am like very convinced that I am in the woods, and I am so terrified, and I'm like, somebody took my bed and put it in the woods. And then I realized, no, somebody didn't take my bed and put it in the woods. My brothers took my bed and put it in the woods. That's who did this, those turds. And that actually gave me a little bit of hope because I realized that brothers wouldn't take your bed and put it in the woods and then leave. That's a missed opportunity. Brothers would take your bed, put it in the woods, and then they would hide about 10 or 15 feet away with a night vision camera, trained on your bed so they could capture the moment that you woke up and started screaming and crying and wetting your pants. And then they would capture that video and they would archive it in multiple digital formats so they could save it forever. And they would play it anytime you brought a friend over, anytime you had a boyfriend or girlfriend come to the house. They would play that at your graduation, at your wedding. If you die before them, they're gonna play that at your funeral. That's just what brothers do. They're like, listen, it's sad that Kyle's gone, but hey, let's watch this video of when he peed his pants in the forest. And that thought actually gave me hope because I realized, oh, that means I'm not alone. So I just started to yell. I was like, okay, guys, good joke, well done. How did you even get the bed out here without turning it sideways? and I would have fallen off. Did you take the roof off? Oh my gosh, guys, Mom is gonna be so mad. That's not cheap. It's fine, we can talk logistics later. Anyways, just know that I'm very impressed, but I know you have flashlights, so let's get out of here. Come on. But I'm yelling out and nobody's responding to me. And I'm like, guys, for real, like, I'm very impressed. Seriously, how far even did you carry the bed? I can't even see our house from here. Maybe this is scarier than I thought. Where are we, guys, and why are you not answering me? Let's turn those flashlights on, for real, come on. And every time I'm yelling out and nobody's responding, I'm feeling more terrified and more scared and more alone. And I'm like, okay, guys, all right, hey, okay, how about this? We don't have to carry the bed back tonight. That's an olive branch I will extend you. We don't have to carry the bed back tonight. We can carry the bed back tomorrow. Or you know what, forget the bed forever, okay? I just don't even care. I'll just sleep on the ground the rest of my life, guys, because this is not funny anymore. Guys, I really want to go home right now, please. Can we just go home? And I'm just like melting down, and I cannot stress this enough to you. Nobody is responding to me. And eventually I realize, like, I'm gonna have to walk out of here. So I stand up. Somehow I didn't register that I was standing on carpet. I was just like, this forest moss is very soft and flat. And I took a step, and then I immediately took a step right back. And I took one more step, and I immediately went back. And every time I would try to take 1 or 2 steps away, I would immediately take the steps back to the bed. And I realized, Kyle, you're not gonna be able to walk out of here because you're gonna constantly just wanna come back to the safety of this bed. You gotta commit to this. You need to run out of here. So I began to sprint. And listen, I know what my body looks like. I can see the screen. I've had some burritos in my life, okay? Sue me. I'm not built like a runner. And when you have the build that I have, when you begin to run, there's only a limited number of steps that you're gonna take before you reach your maximum speed. And it's not a lot of steps. We're talking low single digits, okay? And once you hit that, you're not gonna get any faster than that. I don't know what that number of steps is for me. I don't know what that number of steps is for you, but I do know who knows that number for me, and it's the architect that designed my parents' home. Because the distance between my bed and the door was exactly the number of steps that I needed to get up to terminal velocity. So I'm sprinting, and right as I reach peak speed, boom, I slam my face into that door so hard, you guys, so hard that it knocked one of the stars off of the ceiling. And as it fell down, I made a wish. Please don't let my nose be broken. Somehow me yelling for 10 minutes and not woken anybody up, but me slamming the framing of my skeleton into the framing of our home did the job. My little brother in the next room was like, "Are you okay?" And I was like, "Yes, the star fairy answered my wish. I am okay." And I went and I laid down on my bed and I pulled up the covers and I was like, "Yeah, man, I'm okay. I'm all right." And I was okay because I realized in that moment that I wasn't alone anymore. And I know some of you hear that story and you're like, "Wow, it's a really dumb story, dude." Because you're thinking you were not alone any of that time. And I would say, yeah, that's actually the point though, because it didn't matter. It didn't matter that I wasn't alone because I sure felt like I was. And you know what? There are people in your classrooms and homes and communities, in your FFA chapters, in a room this size, for sure there are people in here who it doesn't matter that they're surrounded by 15,000 other people who are wearing the same jacket as you are. It doesn't matter that as you go through this city, like there's just so many people here. It doesn't matter that when you go back home, you're in a school where you're having to squeeze past people to get to lunch and to get to your locker, and there's people making out, and you're like, "I just need my math book. Can you not do that?" You're surrounded by people all the time, but there are people that, despite that, they feel like they're all alone. And there are people in here that, despite the fact that I can see you and I can read the gold thread embroidered name on your jacket, you feel like you're completely invisible. There are people that I can hear you, but you feel like you don't have a voice. And unfortunately, that's not a problem that I can solve with my 35 minutes on stage. That's not a problem that FFA can solve. That's not a problem that your school board can solve, or some government anti-bullying initiative can solve, or something like that. That's a problem that you can solve, because it only takes one person to lift someone up, and it only takes one person to tear someone down. It only takes one person to make someone's day, and it only takes one person to ruin someone's day. But FFA, friends, you're in luck, because it just so happens that one person is exactly what you have to work with. Guys, I'm all out of time. Can we get the lights up for a quick selfie? That be all right? Make some noise, guys. Why are you making noise? It's a photograph. All right. Guys, I'm out of time. Thank you so much. I love you guys from the bottom of my heart. Oh, I'm dropping my phone.
Mr. Shealy, thank you so much for your message. You're right. It only takes just one person to tear someone up and just one person to tear someone down. And it goes to show that students in this room have the ability to build someone up and tear someone down, but it's their choice on whether or not to do so. Thank you for reminding us of that civic duty, and we appreciate your time that you spent with our membership. Take this tie.
Thank you.
Yeah.
We'll go off this way.
All right, so y'all, I think Kyle's right. We're about to run out of time on this session, so we gotta get going. Wait. Ooh, yes, Queen. Wow, you look good, but we're running out of time. We gotta close the session, Beeb.
I know, but I think it would be awesome if we had one more twin trivia question.
But Beeb, there's no time. We can't.
I know, but I think it'd be the perfect way to end it.
Fine. What do you got?
Awesome. Okay, just one word better. Which one?
Beeb! By saying just one more better, that means we both look good or we both didn't. Remember? Because we're twins?
Yeah, I guess you're right. Maybe we could just focus on the things that make us different and appreciate that then.
Oh, I love that, Beeb. Thank you. Oh. Okay, cool. Thank you for helping me out, Beeb.
Yeah,
bye. Beeb, yeah. Beeb and I have looked different all of our lives, and this session was no different. We might always look the same, but the way we pursue our passions in life, the way that we take a hold of our life in college, and the way we choose to make the world a better place looks different for both of us. Same goes for the folks in this arena today. The way we pursue our individual passions, the way we take hold of our time here at convention, and the way we choose to make the world a better place looks different for all of us. Yeah, it may be that just one action, that just one step, that just one person, but always remember that that just one has so much significance and can change every part of our life. What is the just one that you will pursue here at convention? How will that just one continue to fulfill your passions and grow our world? Be sure to be back here in Bankers Life Fieldhouse today as we celebrate with our second general session of the 91st National FFA Convention and Expo. We'll have the opportunity to continue to hear from dedicated stakeholders in our organization, as well as celebrate those students who have excelled in their communities and chapters by rewarding our outstanding FFA chapters. Lastly, we will hear from your National Eastern Region Vice President, Ms. Gracie Furnish, as she delivers her retiring address. Just one moment, one opportunity, one encounter is all it takes to radically change the course of our lives. Changing the world can seem like a daunting task at times, yet every great accomplishment in history started with just one idea, just one action, just one sacrifice, just one moment of courage. What are the just ones our world and others need from you? We are capable of growing leaders, building communities, and strengthening agriculture, and we will impact the world if we believe in the power of just one.
Just one chance, just one moment, change the course, it's time we show it. Just one step, just one choice, can pave the way, let's raise our voice.
Madam Secretary, do you have a record of any further business which should now be transacted?
Yes, Madam President, I do. FFA members and guests, as I'm sure you've heard, the 45th President of the United States of America, Donald J. Trump, will attend the 9th General Session of the 91st National FFA Convention and Expo. If you are making plans to attend the 9th General Session, you will be required to visit Hall K at the Indiana Convention Center today beginning at 12 p.m. to pick up your tickets.
Please know these tickets will be made available on first come, first served basis, as there's a limited number of seats in here. Any questions regarding the president's visit can be answered in Hall K.
Thank you. Does any member know of any new or unfinished business that should properly come before this session? We are about to adjourn this, the first general session of the 91st National FFA Convention and Expo. As we mingle with others, let us be diligent in labor, just in our dealings, courteous to everyone, and above all, honest and fair in the game of life. Fellow members and guests, please join me in a salute to our flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I now declare this session adjourned.
Today's the day we make a change. One risk is all it takes. With courage, drive, and ambition, we can achieve something great. Just one moment, one encounter, just one step to empower. Just one risk, just one choice. This time we raise our voice. Just one chance, just one moment, change the course. It's time we show it. Just one step, just one choice can pave the way. Let's raise our voice. You'll never know how far you can get till you find the courage to take that step. Each and every opportunity helps shape our community. Just one moment, one encounter, just one step to empower. Just one risk, just one choice. This time we raise our voice. Just one chance, just one moment, change the course. It's time we show it. Just one step, just one choice can pave the way. Let's raise our voice. Just one chance, just one moment, change the course. It's time we show it. Just one step, just one choice can pave the way. Let's raise our voice. Whoa.